Once again, time for the Sunday recap. Kevin Bunk, Michael Merlo coming to you right after Bears-Rams division round recap. And it was a bad first 3.5 quarters. Not too much going on. But in typical Bears fashion, they give us a thrill in the last 5 minutes of the fourth. Rams score. They come back, score on one of the most improbable plays with like 15 seconds left, whatever it was. I can't believe they scored. They end up losing. Lot to unpack from this first game, Mike, on a really good division round weekend.
It was a great weekend, Kevin. This game was, like you said, it was kind of a defensive battle. The Rams really went cold in the middle of this game, but you know McVay and you know Stafford, they're going to figure this thing out. They're going to get right as the game goes on. Super impressed with how Stafford and this Rams team in the cold, that was a discussion point all week, that the cold weather was going to hinder their play. I don't think it did too much, especially late in this game. They made big plays and went to go win it.
How about each team in this game throwing the ball 42 times? More dropbacks than that for LA. They dropped back 46 times to throw in this game. Not a crazy surprise for Los Angeles, even with the weather. Some of that obviously comes in overtime too. But for Chicago, I was really surprised Caleb ends up throwing this ball 42 times. Only a few in overtime. Didn't get sacked at all. It was 42 dropbacks. They run the ball 39 times, including the Williams carries. I mean, two quarterbacks just chucking it, and they both end up around 50% completion, but Stafford ends up getting the win. I didn't think either of them were particularly great, but Williams, especially the 3 turnovers, no good.
No, they weren't great, each quarterback. I'll say this, thought the Rams, when they did want to run the ball, I thought Kyron was running pretty well. So, I was surprised they went away from that in the middle of the game, but it's still enough. Everything's still enough. Devontae was a little quiet here, made the great catch at the end, though. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting game. I did not see this one playing out the way it did, though. Not that it was close late, but just the way the game kind of went.
Yeah, you get no points in the third quarter, no points again until late in the fourth quarter. And what was it at halftime? 10-10 at half. And then you just get basically 25 game minutes of no scoring. And both teams end up with touchdowns late. The Bears, though, this year, I mean, just the cardiac kid nature of this team. I know it's over. Bears fans will always look back at this season fondly. It's one of those years. Now the expectations are really there. But I can't believe this team. It got to a point the last month, and we said it all year on this show, got to a point the last month when they were in those situations, you just knew they were going to pull something out of the hat and just score out of nowhere. Like that last touchdown today for them was insane.
It was. It's one of the crazier plays you'll ever see in him. And he literally went back to the 40-yard line. It was almost a 50-yard throw into the end zone. Where were they? At the 15, the 20 there?
Yeah.
20 yards.
He starts running back 30 yards, and I'm sitting here right in this chair watching the game. I'm like, all right, we're about to start the show. This game's over. It's going to end on this play. And then they throw the touchdown, and it's, of course they scored because it's the 2025-26 Bears, and this is what they do.
And he was open. Like, he was open.
Yeah.
It was a perfect throw because the corner misread where that ball was going. And instantly, because the Ram defender went like this, push off. And then you have Kmet looking at the ref saying, kind of like, oh, did I push off? But no, he didn't. He really didn't. It was just they were hand fighting, and then he's open.
And can I just make a lame point after that game? Ben Johnson could have taken the points a few times here. First quarter, I don't think the wind was too much of a factor. The Kickers had a nice night.
Yeah.
As it wasn't as much as we thought coming in, but you had the interception early, turnover on downs in the fourth. It would have been a deeper kick, but could have kicked it. And it just felt like, another game goes to overtime in this playoff, and another team loses by 3 that probably left 6 or 9 points out there.
Yeah, I texted you on one of them. They were probably at like the 33, 34.
I think you texted me that second quarter turnover on downs, which was at the LA 32, yeah.
And then you had the early one, which I think it was a scoreless game at the time where he went for it. I think it was
the opening drive, yeah.
The opening drive, okay. Opening drive, he goes for it, doesn't get it, but then he comes
21.
Back, he comes back, gets the touchdown on a 4th and goal on the next drive. So I was like, all right, he got 7 at least. But yeah, that's definitely has to be a talking point. And did you see the handshake? I walked out of the room. I did not see the
I
handshake.
didn't see it. I looked for
after
it.
the
I
game.
didn't see it. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was there, and I missed it.
Yeah, I'll look on Twitter. I will. I will check for that. But I'm very interested to see the handshake on that.
Yeah, McVay clearly wanted this win bad all week to get Johnson, and I think a lot of people in those circles probably wanted Johnson humbled. I think a big part of it, when we're talking about the LaFleur stuff, is the obvious headline of the beef and the dislike for Ben Johnson from some of these guys, and LaFleur and McVay are so tight. But I also think there's an ego situation at play where he's a rare offensive coach in this league that got in young and rose up the ranks without touching that McVay-Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
He's totally independent of those guys. And as much as I love Sean McVay, and this might sound crazy, he feels like he's just as good right away. And he felt like he was just as good at calling plays in Detroit. This is not a surprise that they had this season and that they took a huge step forward with him. So I think that there's an ego situation at play here too, where McVay and LaFleur and Shanahan are kind of like thinking that Johnson's infringing on their turf a little bit, being the next young offensive coach, and he wasn't associated with them.
It makes sense. Before he was with Detroit, like where does he come from?
He was in Miami, and I think he was in Denver with Gary Kubiak possibly for a moment. I feel like he worked with Adam Gase at some point. That's why I'm saying that.
Gase tree.
Yeah, but he was in Miami. He's really a Dan Campbell tree guy, though, because he was in Miami with Campbell.
Okay.
Underneath Campbell, and then Campbell brings him back to Detroit, where he becomes relevant there. I'm going to look up his career right now. But yeah, I mean, huge win for McVay, who, let me ask you this. End of this fourth quarter, right before the 2-minute warning, they run it with like 2:04 left, 2:05 on third down. Don't get it. It was like 3rd and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, I felt like they could have, in the first drive of overtime, threw the ball, and they didn't. I didn't think it felt like McVay trusted Stafford, or at least didn't trust the passing game a lot late in this, or at least in the entire second half.
Hated the play call on the first drive in overtime.
The pitch
did not like that. And I agree. I said at the time I probably would have thrown it there on that 3rd and 7, but I was trying to like do the quick math in my head, because if, let's say, it was an incompletion with 2:02, now you're not getting the clock. Now you're not getting the runtime off the clock with the punt. You know what I mean?
And I think, honestly, like, they would know more than me and they plan more than me. And this is one of those things that I'm probably looking over something, or overlooking something, for a better term. But I thought, just like, why wouldn't you care if the 2-minute warning was on the punt?
Right. But I think it may have been a difference of a few seconds.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter anyway, obviously. So I think I would have gone for the win there, because essentially you're going for the win if you go get that first down on the 3rd and 7. I would have thrown it. Was a little shocked he didn't.
So Ben Johnson, just for good measure, was with Miami from 2012 to 2018. They flipped the coaching staff. So that's where he was with Gase, was in Miami. They held him over from the prior coach. Okay. Gase kept him. Gase gets fired. They clean house. He goes to Detroit with Matt Patricia. Patricia gets fired after a year. Campbell holds him over.
Okay.
So he's only been in Miami and Detroit before this. But either way, great season for Johnson. Good win for McVay. And I'm just thinking about Stafford. One of those, especially with the other 3 quarterbacks right now, Darnold, May, and Stidham, but Nix also. It's nice to have a real legacy guy on the line here. How much does this Super Bowl play into the career of Matthew Stafford if he can go out and win it? I mean, that would be a huge, huge Super Bowl win.
I think for me, it only raises like how I think of him. I already see him as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I know there are people that still don't believe he should get in. He's got the 1 with the Rams. I think he's a Hall of Famer already, but for me, it'll raise how much I think of him as, you know, one of the quarterbacks in our generation. I'll ask you this. Do you think he goes down as, let's say he gets in, is he in as a Ram or is he in as a Lion? I feel like at this point, he's a Ram, especially if he wins another.
I feel like it's a Ram. What's the career? Obviously, he's going to have more years played with Detroit, but what is the breakdown on that? It is 17 years, 12 with Detroit. It's a lot of seasons with the Lions, 5 with the Rams. But, I mean, like, Detroit, his record is 74-90. In LA, he's 46-28 with a Super Bowl ring. He might have an MVP in Los Angeles. I think he's gonna. So I feel like you got to be a Ram. Can you double up in the NFL Hall of Fame though?
I don't know if you can, but I more of like, yeah, okay, how does he go in the Hall of Fame? But how are you going to remember him? Like, I think, especially if he wins one more here, I think I'm going to remember him as a Ram. Like,
yeah, I don't even think if he wins one more.
This conversation happened in Atlanta this year, in the middle of the year with Freeman and the Dodgers.
Yep.
Like, we're going to remember Freddie Freeman as a Dodger with all the winning he's done. I feel like it's basically almost the same situation.
And you're going to remember McVay. If this is McVay's peak, because it very well could be, he's so young, he might not find another great quarterback like this. But if this is McVay's peak, which I don't think it would be, then we're going to remember Stafford as his quarterback when he's the Hall of Fame coach and when it's his time to have the legacy conversations.
Yes.
Like we're not going to talk about Goff. These two are tied together, and they are Rams. They're Rams legends. Them, if they win another Super Bowl, absolutely.
I'm rooting for them. That's the team I'm rooting for. Obviously, when we get to more of that, I don't think they're going to, but that's the team I'm rooting for. But when we get really into the weeds,
better game, closer game, Rams Seahawks or Bears Seahawks?
Rams Seahawks.
I think so too. And I thought today, and I picked the Bears to win, and I thought today, before the Patriots game started, I was thinking about the better matchups for next weekend for this game because, with all due respect, we'll talk about it more throughout the episode, it's possible the Stidham game's not a good one next week.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's not a lock, but it's possible. So I'm really like, we got to have at least a really good NFC Championship game matchup. And I think the third time through for these teams is a better game. I think Seattle would kill Chicago.
You get the rubber match of this game, which was so great. You obviously had one of the best games of the year on that Thursday night in Seattle, where the Hawks came back, and you had the Sam Darnold 5-turnover game, but it was a close one in LA in the middle of the year. I'm happy we get, the rubber match, and I can't wait. These are the two best teams in the NFC the entire year, right? I don't think anybody is questioning that. You could say the Rams really peaked towards the middle of the year through the last 6 weeks, but they're able to come back out here. Now, last year, they lost a tough game in Philly where they were down. It started snowing, and they come back and almost beat Philadelphia in Philly in the bad weather. Now you're here. You have a miracle play from Chicago. It's freezing freaking cold. And the Rams and Stafford again are able to come through. Now, finally, again, they're able to come through in these tough situations in bad weather on the road. I was so happy for the Rams and Stafford here.
I was too. And I was rooting for them. I said it on predictions, but I really didn't explain why, because it doesn't matter. But I feel like the Bears are just going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
And this is a lame reason to root for a team, maybe, but I want to see Stafford in these big games. And not many quarterbacks playing like him anymore. He's got that great traditional pocket passer presence that has left the league almost completely. And I want to see Stafford and McVay in these games. I could hold off on Williams and Johnson. They had a really fun year, though. I've been rooting for them almost the whole season in these spots. But great win for... And one play I want to talk about on the Rams is, I think it was just in overtime. It was definitely in overtime. The Puka, it's like a 20-yard catch. I should have just pulled up the exact moment. But on 3rd down and 7 from midfield before the field goal, it was 3rd and 7.
They blitzed.
They blitzed. And you knew based on that play call and the immediate quick throw that Stafford and McVay knew exactly what was coming.
Yep. And Puka probably too.
And Puka. That play was called, and whatever done at the line of scrimmage, whatever goes into it for the two of those guys, Stafford and McVay, they knew exactly what Chicago was sending at them.
They're blitzing. He's in the slot. He literally just stops, and he had space and then gets 10 more, 15 more after the catch. And that sealed it right there. So when the Bears went to go kick the extra point, and you could tell, like, obviously it's a big moment. You miss the extra point, you're going to lose the game most likely. Yeah. But like, it was more than that with the Bears fans behind, like, in the crowd. Like, you could see how happy they were that extra point went in, because they've been there so many times. It would be so Bears for them to miss that kick.
Sometimes when you're watching the game, you don't know from that angle behind the kicker exactly when it goes through the uprights. It just looks straight until it hits the net. And you knew, because before it hits the net, maybe like a second and a half, that place erupted.
Yep.
That place erupted. It was hilarious. The same things. I'm sitting here saying, how Bears would it be to doink this?
I was nervous for them because I wanted to see overtime. So at that point, I'm like, all right, let this kick go in. And I was sitting there a little nervous and like, I don't think I've ever seen a crowd go more crazy. And credit to them, they've been great, the last 2 games of the postseason here. But I don't think I've ever seen a crowd go more crazy than the Bears crowd when they hit the extra point in time of the game.
Yeah, no, that was that place, and you see the arms that fly up behind the field goal post.
It's so funny.
Good for them, man.
And I thought Mevis, the kicker, I thought he was going to miss that field goal.
I thought he was going to miss too.
I thought he was going to miss.
He's a stud, though.
He's pretty good. They've had issues
really
on
nice
special teams all year, though, and they obviously had to make the change to him, early in the year. I thought he was
better bring your A game on special teams next week.
Yeah,
Seattle.
Yeah,
better bring your A game next week against Seattle. Oh man. Let's bounce. We'll talk more Rams Seahawks stuff later, but we could bounce off this Patriots Texans game, which kind of went exactly as I expected it to go. This is why I picked New England on Thursday when we did the predictions. In my heart, I did not want to pick New England, and I just could not see CJ Stroud winning a football game in Foxborough against that defense, and it just felt like New England all week for me. They did exactly what I expected, and CJ Stroud, we got to have a conversation.
Yeah, we can have the CJ conversation. You texted me before I had seen it in any other chat or on social media, like, we need to get Davis Mills in this game, and they don't go to him at all. I got a lot to say here because I still think this team is fraudy in New England. I really do. I really think this team is fraudy. I got a stat for you, too. Okay. I just got to pull this up, but I do have a stat. Okay. The Patriots are the first team since 1987 to win a playoff game with 250 yards or fewer, 13 first downs or fewer, and 3+ turnovers. The last 30 teams to post those marks all lost by an average of 21 points.
Wow.
4 yards per play, 3 for 14 on third down, 5 sacks taken, and they got the win.
Wow, that's a stat. The 21 points average margin of defeat. Oh man,
I think credit. This was Carson Breber.
And with you saying that, it confirms what I had written down, that I would have went to Mills just because it felt like that game, and it was probably gone at halftime anyways, but it felt like that game was a classic. Just do not turn the ball over and we're going to win. And he turns the ball over 5 times.
But you know what, Kevin? Like, it wasn't over at half. They were down 8 at half. They come out of half. They go down the field, kick a field goal. Now it's a 5-point game. Like, this was still a winnable game for much of it. And their quarterback completely let them down, threw up all over himself. I would have went to him because there were points in the second quarter and the third, especially in the second quarter, when he had that run. It was like 3 interceptions on his last 7 passes.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're still in this football game. They're right here. You had to make a change.
If I were a veteran on that defense, and I don't think this is actually how things happen behind closed doors, but if I was a veteran, I would be saying, like, to D'Amico Ryans, hey, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not trying to make it a scene. We got to have at least a discussion about this offense, though. Forget even just quarterback. The offensive line sucks. The running game is nothing, completely non-existent. And shame on Nick Caley today for running the ball 22 times, and 2 of them were Stroud scrambles. So you run the ball 20 times, 2 of them were tush pushes. You run the ball 18 times in this game when right out of the gate, I knew your quarterback wasn't on his game.
Well, they couldn't run the ball.
The
one thing that is, that I came away impressed with from this New England team, especially the last 2 weeks, is that they're very good against the run.
Very good.
Good.
That's a big boost from Milton Williams coming back.
They are good against the run. That's the one thing. So Woody Marks couldn't do anything. Chubb couldn't do anything. Like, they just had nothing on offense, but their defense continued to make plays throughout. And that's the that's the Stroud conversation. Excuse me. The Stroud conversation is this. I understand you're without your 2 weapons, your 2 big weapons, Nico the whole game, Schultz about half the game. The offensive line stinks and you really don't have a running game. But when you have a defense like this, just basically winning you games all season long, and did everything they could on the road against a good team in New England, against a really good quarterback. Like, how do you expect to win with this guy in massive spots if in the big spots he does have these blow-up games where it's just turnover after turnover, and every time he drops back, you feel like something bad's going to happen, because that's how it felt today.
Yeah, you can't expect to win with a guy that like this. And the regression has been so apparent from the rookie year to year. Since his concussion this year, I thought he looked awful. But I sent you the stat today. Maybe the worst stat I've ever heard about a playoff quarterback. CJ Stroud is the first player in NFL history to have 5 interceptions and 5 fumbles in a single postseason. They played in 2 games.
How about this from May? 5 fumbles and 2 interceptions in 6 playoff quarters.
Yeah. And I gave him the pass on one because it was a Hail Mary, but
right. And he didn't lose all of those fumbles, but they couldn't do anything to stop Hunter or Will Anderson today. Nothing.
That's why I'm not going to jump to conclusions about next week's game. I'm going to pick the Patriots to win just like everybody else, but Denver, whose defense has not been very good, on the road in Denver, it's not in a league that has seen Frank Reich win playoff games and Jeff Hostetler win a Super Bowl and Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit here and say Jarrett Stidham can't go out there and put enough plays together to overcome New England. With the way Denver's defense can play, they haven't, but they can. The way they can play with the coach he has and the running game they have versus Drake May, who has not looked great. I'm not convinced Denver is a guaranteed loss next week.
Yeah, if you could play a similar game to how, and they have the talent on the edge there. I mean, you get in his face, you just knock the ball out. Like Nick Bonito could have a massive game against Will Campbell this week. And, there's a couple of turnovers right there. They don't have the talent on the outside that New England does to really compete with the back end over there with Surtain. What do you think the spread is in this game?
I think it'll be 6.5. 6.5.
It's 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
I'm with you. I think this is going to be it's not going to be a fun game. It's not going to be one of those games where, the non-diehard football fans just sit there and say, "Oh, we have to watch this game." That's
Denver has to muck this game up.
Yep.
And Sean Payton's going to know that. You got to muck this game up, and you got to challenge your defense all week. You want to come out here and let them think they have a free win. The one saving grace for New England in this game, especially, the scariest thing for them would be looking towards the Super Bowl. They cannot look towards the Super Bowl, and no team playing this weekend, if they were playing the Broncos, could just start planning their Super Bowl trip. But I don't think Vrabel would let that happen. I think Vrabel this team is so locked in under him. That's the saving grace to if May has a bad game, if whoever has a bad game, everybody's locked in on the coaching staff. And that is why, honestly, if Bo Nix was playing, I think I'd pick New England in this game.
Do you think May played incredibly well today? I'm looking at the passer rating. He had 100.7 passer rating.
No, I don't think he played.
I wasn't oh my God, Drake May. I wasn't overly impressed.
I'm not a huge passer rating guy either, but yeah, I didn't think he
played well.
I thought that the Texans defense is unbelievable, and I'm not going to change my thought now. And Will Campbell, dude, I didn't go here last week, but we got to have the Will Campbell conversation.
You've been on this all year, but
I've been on this since the draft. That I think, and I still think, I'm not even trying to disrespect him with this comment either, but Patriots fans hate it. This is a Hall of Fame left guard. Hall of Fame left guard. He's not a tackle. He's not an elite level 4th overall pick tackle.
You're confident he would be a great guard.
Dude, go back, read the draft guide. Who's tackle 1? Kelvin Banks. Who's tackle 2? Armand Membu. Who's O-line 1? Will Campbell. It's not tackle 1. He's O-line 1.
Okay. I got to go back and look at the draft guide.
And I'm a Campbell guy. I think the injury hurt him this year, not literally, but didn't mean it that way. Will Anderson, you put Campbell on an island. He's toast.
There was that one play where he fumbled. I said to my buddies, because we had the Texans were all right, get a turnover here. And the next play, Anderson's one-on-one with him. He got a great jump off the ball, and he strip sacked them, and they recovered it. Like it looked like a high schooler on a college player.
And I don't think May has done a particularly good job the last 2 weeks being able to feel his blind side.
No, he hasn't.
And that's something that we never even got a chance to really see in the regular season.
It's just incredible. It's incredible what they've played against. And I understand you can't control who you play. You got to go out there. You got to beat the opponents that are in front of you. I get it. But I mean, we got CJ Stroud. And again, I wasn't even like impressed with the New England defense today with all the turnovers they forced. Well, I feel like it was just Stroud being awful.
The Stroud pick six is one of the worst plays that you will see the entire year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so... You have to just have the awareness to tuck it and take the sack on second down. Mm-hmm. You have to. You cannot risk that. I see what he was looking at with Hutchinson. Hutchinson was open about 9 or 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, but he had a guy right in his face. He was about to get hit. You just got to eat it, man.
We haven't said this all year, and this is a really, really bad thing to say about somebody. That was a Will Levis moment.
That was a Will Levis moment right there. That was a Will Levis moment. Yeah, dude, that's a bad game for Stroud. Like, I wonder how Texans fans are feeling today, because this guy 3 years in has won 3 playoff games. It's 3-3 in the playoffs. They've gotten bounced in the division round. I've read that I think they've been there 8 times in their franchise's history. They're 0-8, and you have to be looking at this team saying Super Bowl defense, Super Bowl special teams, really good head coach. Are we about to waste it with CJ Stroud? And I'm not saying you have to trade him, but this is why I would not trade Davis Mills, because he needs that internal competition and the team needs it, because you didn't lose a game with Mills this year. If you get off to another slow start next year after they bolster this line and running game, Mills has to be in consideration.
What sucks is you don't have, if they had a, and not literally, but a Ben Johnson like, or an elite offensive play caller. Right? If Clint Kubiak was head coach here, let's just say that, okay?
Yeah.
Still great defense. Everything's the same besides Kubiak is head coach. And CJ does this. I would be okay with them going and signing Malik Willis or trading for Mac Jones and bringing in somebody to truly compete for this job, and somebody that you would feel comfortable starting, and you may even say is better than CJ. But you don't have that there. So what do? I think that is the most questionable part right now about trying to replace him, because I just don't think you can.
And then the other thing I would just say to that, as I'm reading Stroud's contract, because we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But Nick Caley was a guy a year ago when they had fired the prior OC who was with Stroud for the playoff win, the first 2 playoff wins. They fire him after year 2. Caley a year ago was the most highly coveted offensive play caller on the market. And it was not like this year where there were former head coaches. It was a weaker year, but he was the Rams quarterback coach and pass game coordinator. So is it possible that Stroud is now killing the play callers?
I mean, yeah. But I also, you don't have an offensive line.
No, you don't. The line's terrible, and we knew that. They traded Tunsil. They didn't replace him. They botched the Kenyon Green pick, and then they traded him for CJ Gardner-Johnson without ever actually finding a replacement at guard.
You can't do anything here without the offensive line.
And no Trent Brown today either.
I mean, Ben Johnson gets to Chicago, and what does he do? He trades for, a Hall of Famer and Joe Thuney, and they bolster up the offensive line. They had just drafted one the year before he got there. So, Ben Johnson, elite offensive play caller, knows that he just cannot worry about the offensive line. It needs to be elite. And there you go. You're in the divisional round, and you're a play away from getting to the NFC Championship game.
Especially when you have a quarterback on the rookie contract. Why isn't your line filled with high-priced players?
Yep, 100%. And it's right here. You're in an impasse because now – same conversation goes for Bryce Young, by the way. And maybe I'll ask you who'd you rather have, but we'll get to that in a second.
That's an interesting one.
You need to have conversations about contract extensions now with both of these guys and what they look like. If you're telling me in both of these situations, who would you rather pay? I think at this point, I'm going Bryce, and I can't believe I'm saying that. But if I had to give the extension, and I don't know what the number is, but if I have to give any sort of 3 or 4 or 5-year extension to one of these guys, I feel like it's Bryce right now.
I feel like you might be right.
And CJ's won, like you said, CJ's won playoff games in each of his first 3 years. That's
I
insane.
mean, for the Texans wins this year with Davis Mills, I don't think they end up with 12 wins. Maybe they make the playoffs. If Stroud's healthy the whole year, Mills felt really like a calming presence for that month that he played. They really needed that to just settle themselves down.
We had
Stroud came back.
conversations. We had conversations about Mills staying as the starter. I mean,
Yeah,
this
we
was
were
crazy.
never off of this. I mean, this is
We
not like
were out on Stroud with the year that he was having, and then he gets hurt.
what I want to see what his stat lines look like every year.
Who, Dave or
Stroud.
Oh,
So I know what Mills looks like, but Stroud, year one, they win that playoff game against Cleveland, and he throws
great.
23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Last year, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And then in 25, this past year, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So the ratio has gone down every year. It's gotten worse. And yards, he had 4,100 in 23, 3,700 last year. In 2 more games, he had 400 less yards last year and 3 less touchdowns. And then this year, he only plays the 14 games, but has 3,000 yards flat and 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's just, and his QBR has hovered around the same thing, 58, 46, 62.
Got it.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what you do. I think he'll be the starting quarterback next year.
Yeah, and he should be.
But you have to, like, again, if it's Mills being back, it's Mills. If it's another backup that you trust to start, then it's that. It's bad.
It's bad. I'm just trying to see if I had any more specific notes on this game.
Yeah, let's see.
Hit some more Patriots stuff later. The one thing I did want to talk about, and it ties into the Broncos game too, but how about the 2024 quarterbacks? Nix sends his team to an AFC title game. May has his team in an AFC title game. Williams got 1 game away. Daniels was in the NFC title game last year. 3 guys already have been in championship games. One of them, assuming May wins, is going to be in the Super Bowl. And
Caleb's going to win a Super Bowl.
Caleb at some point might, and May probably at some point would too. Just assuming. I know it's tough. Never really get back to these spots sometimes, but
yeah,
it's tough. But yeah, good for the 2024 class. The quickest game to hit on of the whole week: Seahawks, 49ers. Just an absolute beating in Seattle from the first play. But the stat of the week on Seattle is they've gone 8 straight quarters without allowing a touchdown. And I saw that stat and I said, who'd they play last game? Oh, San Francisco. So Shanahan versus McDonald in Seattle go 8 straight quarters without a touchdown, and that's how their season ends.
Yeah, I got to say this. This is going to sound crazy after that stat. And I think I've said this before, but I'm going to really say it now. Like, I think this was Shanahan's most impressive year as a coach.
Yeah, it is, but it's funny after that stat.
Like, it's really funny at bad timing after that stat, but it really is what he's had to deal with. I think it was, my buddy told me yesterday, it was 7 of the 11 starters on defense from the beginning of the year out, going into last night. So impressive. And he loses the quarterback. He loses different weapons throughout the year, and they're still able to get to this spot. So they just ran into a freaking juggernaut of a football team in Seattle. And that, listen, even for the Rams, when we talk about it, like it's an impossible place to go and win. It's really tough to go in there. And that place is going to be loud on Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It is. It's going to be a great game. It's a perfect matchup. And I really would have loved all 4 teams in this if Nix was playing. It sucks that he's not playing. It's not even a knock on Stidham or the Broncos. It's just like really wanted to see Nix versus May, second-year quarterbacks in that game. I'm a Nix guy.
I gotta ask you a question about Nix when we get to it. I'm really interested to hear your answer because I think it's going to be
in a minute.
I think it's going to be crazy. But yeah, all 3. I mean, you mentioned it before, but and I wrote this down. Like, they're just so great on all 3 phases. Seattle, the Rams have to almost play perfect going into this game, and they feel like a different team. When they went into Seattle on that Thursday night, the Rams, they felt like the big brother there. I mean, they felt like the better and bigger team. And now this time around, 4 or 5 weeks later, feels the complete opposite way. Feels like it's gonna be really tough for them to go into Seattle and get a win. So I'm excited. I saw the spread. Do you have a guess on what the spread is for this game? Because I'm a little surprised.
So I'm guessing if you're surprised, it's not as close as we think it is.
I'm not.
Is that why you're surprised?
I'm not going to answer that yes or no.
Because I would put it at 2.5.
All right, it's 2.5.
Okay.
And it was 1.5, and now it's 2. It's firmly at 2. I don't know. Rams, yeah, 2 straight wins, sure. And I've been a Rams guy all year. I feel like they peaked. I get they're great. I feel like they peaked a few weeks ago. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are peaking at the right time right now.
That's fair.
I would have made it 3.5 just being in that building on that night.
Yeah, no, this is a tough one. Sam Darnold didn't even have to show up for this game.
No, they showed nothing on offense.
They could have ran Wildcat. They could have ran Wildcat the whole game. I mean, he didn't have to do anything. It's not even like I'd be worried about him next week, so they didn't do anything. They went up 17-0 when you blinked. Before their offense felt like they even took a snap. They're up 17-0, and they just kind of run the game out and take care of the ball. He's 12 of 17, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. I wanted to ask you this. Biggest winner of the weekend, biggest loser of the weekend, keep teams out of the answers. But who would be your biggest winner? Who would be your biggest loser?
In terms of the teams that played?
Yeah, because my biggest winner would be Darnold. Just if we're talking individuals.
Yeah, Darnold for sure. I'd almost go McVay and like the McVay 3 getting the win over Johnson.
That's a big one too.
Because like you mentioned, it meant a lot. I mean, he talked about it in his presser during the week. And like he ended up smiling after, like how much would it, mean to get the win? And he's just like, well, it's a playoff game, so we know, you need to get it, and we need to win, we need to advance. And then it kind of like he starts laughing.
Yeah. One thing on Seattle too. This secondary lies. They fly. I forget what they're calling themselves. I heard the nickname last night on the broadcast. They have a nickname for themselves. Yeah, I already forgot about. Cool. It was terrible. It was not like it wasn't a Legion of Boom feeling. I was kind of like, we got to, as fans, come up with a better one than that. But Witherspoon, Eman Wari, your boy Love, Julian Love looks great. Tariq Woolen has had some moments the last few weeks after kind of fading since his rookie year. Now in year 4, he's had some moments. I'm really enjoying watching this defense. And how about Leonard Williams this year? Like Leonard Williams, every time they're on, and I get to sit down and watch them with nobody else on, I'm not distracted by anything. Leonard Williams pops. Did you know DeMarcus Lawrence was on this team before last night?
I did, but the first time I heard it in the middle of the year, I was a little shocked.
I saw him last night. I'm like, what the heck is going on this defense? And he looked good.
It looked great. Leonard's been great. I think I texted you that.
You did a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago. He's been great. Both of our teams let him go a while back. They're fun. They fly. But you know what's funny? They fly on offense too. Kenny Walker was running like a man with his head on fire last night. I mean, seriously. And he got the full go. Charbonnet out. I'd like to see what that looks like because, Walker was great last night, but I think they'll need both of them to beat LA. He was unbelievable. And JSN's great. Shaheed and the special teams is unbelievable. And your boy Myers is great.
Myers is great.
Just mix in all 3 phases. They're great. They're so well coached. This is a tough team. It's an impossible team to beat, it feels like. I don't think anybody's beating them. No. The only way you beat them is if Sam Darnold turns the ball over 4 times. It's the only way you beat them.
And the Rams know how to get him to do that. I mean, they had him do it essentially twice this year. One of them ends up in a loss, but this is the game that really the whole NFC calendar has lined up for. The whole NFL calendar in general has lined up for is Seattle Rams. They felt like the 2 best teams in the league all year. Forget in the NFL, in the NFC. Felt like you look at these 2 teams right now in the NFC, and I'm not saying the Patriots or Broncos can't actually win the Super Bowl. It's conceptually possible, of course, but this feels like one of the more lopsided NFC versus AFC debates that there's been in recent years. Because you don't have a Mahomes Chiefs team in this.
I've never been more confident that an NFC, like one side is going to win the Super Bowl going into championship weekend. Like never felt more confident. This is going to be the NFC. If it's Seattle, definitely. Rams, okay. I think if it's Rams, Patriots, you have a game there.
Yep.
I think Seattle wins the game by at least a touchdown if it's Seattle, New England. I don't think May and that offense does. I think it's I don't think it's a good Super Bowl at all. And maybe I'm just hating on the Patriots, and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think if it's that Seattle defense against that young Patriot offense, I don't think they have a chance.
I think the only team in the league that matches up with Seattle is LA.
Yeah.
I don't think another team in the trenches can match up with them. I don't think another team can defend their running game. This Seattle team this is one of the better rosters I've seen in the last few years. I can't remember, like, when's the last time a team was this filled out?
I don't know. Like Darnold, again, last night does nothing. Just sat back there, handed the ball off, made the nice throw in the back of the end zone to JSN. Like, easy, showed nothing in their first postseason game. It's like the offense that you mentioned it before. It's like the offense that didn't even play last night. They've had 2 weeks off now, and they're going into this NFC Championship game full go. You worry a little bit about the Darnold injury. I saw this. What if the Darnold, God forbid, gets hurt, and they win the game still, and
Drew Lock Stidham,
and somehow the Broncos win, and you got Drew Lock Stidham. That is like nightmare scenario for
Can't
the
have
NFL.
that. We cannot have that.
Can't have it. But I think I was gonna say something disrespectful, but I'm not gonna say it. Actually, I'll tell you. Would Drew Lock beat the Patriots?
Well, if the Seahawks beat the Patriots, it wouldn't be because of Drew Lock. I'll say that.
Right. No, agreed. But like,
I think the Seahawks could beat them with me at quarterback. I really do. Like, I think the Seahawks win that game last night with me playing quarterback.
It's incredible.
That's how dominant that was.
That's how incredible they are. All in on the Hawks.
So the Seahawks, just to do your little Patriots, negative Patriots agenda, the Seahawks just beat the 49ers by 35 points.
Yeah.
If the Patriots and 49ers played in the Super Bowl, what's the spread and how much are the 49ers favored by in your mind?
Right, like how they are right now, like all
how they were before last night.
2.5, they're probably favored by probably favored in the game. They are. They're favored in that game. It is. I can't stand them. I don't know what it is. Kevin, I've never hated the Patriots in my life, ever. In fact, I always found it funny that they kick your little asses every year, okay? As that, little petty fan. I've never hated them. We beat them in the Super Bowl twice. All the respect in the world for Brady and Belichick. And for some reason, I can't stand this freaking team right now.
Yeah, no, you're getting bothered by them.
I don't know why.
It's because of Bakemas.
It's because of Bakemas. It's literally Bakemas.
Last question about the Seahawks right now. 3-year, $100 million contract for Sam Darnold. His base salary this year was $5.3 million. They gave him a huge signing bonus. Next year, it's $12.3. The year after, it's $25.3 million. Is that the best contract in the NFL right now?
Might be the best contract in the NFL. You've talked me off of the Darnold ledge a little bit because we've been doing rankings of quarterbacks in the NFL, and I have him pretty high. He wasn't like excellent this year, but when I'm doing the rankings, I'm kind of looping in last year too. He's been great, and like obviously an extension's coming after this year, correct? Especially if they win the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah, because he's going to want one because the team has an opt-out after next year, so he's going to want to lock in that he has more years with the team. And if they get to the Super Bowl or win, and even if they don't, why would you not extend this guy?
What is it, like a 4-year, $220 million contract?
He's probably going to get paid up big time.
Yeah.
And the reason why I hear a lot of people today saying, your quarterback doesn't matter as much as it used to, and I have had agendas like this earlier in the year, but this is why quarterback matters so much. How often does a team with a guy like Sam Darnold actually put this many pieces around him? It doesn't happen. You need Josh Allen's to overcome what you can't do as a GM. You don't hit on every pick. Schneider, the last few years, is the one guy who's hit on every pick.
It's incredible. It really is. Charles Cross, a few years back, just paid him to protect Darnold over there. It's defensively, there's studs everywhere. They're fun to watch. And when the rest of the world that finally locks in football this week, or they lock in Super Bowl Sunday and they're there, they're going to say probably the same feeling they had years back with the Legion of Boom. It's like, holy crap, this team is good. Wow, that defense flies. Wow, there's athletes everywhere. And it's going to be fun for the rest of the world to see that.
Yeah. The Seahawks move on to the NFC Championship, play the Rams. Bills go home. Tough, dude. Really upsetting. I was really sad about this. To see the Bills lose this game. I was heartbroken. I couldn't even sleep last night.
guy's been doing victory laps for the last 24 hours. 28 hours.
Can I be honest with you about something? So, the last few months, really the whole last year, I've had like a lot of trouble sleeping.
Okay.
I'm such an insomniac now. I never sleep.
Okay.
And last night, after that game, and not because of that game, but maybe because of that game subconsciously, I cannot remember sleeping like that. Like I slept straight through from 11 o'clock to like 9:30 and just did not wake up. And I woke up and I was like, I feel amazing today.
Feeling great because that's the definition of a successful hate watch right there. You almost got back to back. Close. You got back to back there, but
next week.
Next week. I'm upset. I'm very upset. I'm off of the fact that I thought the Cooks play was a catch.
I think it was an interception.
It was an interception. I'm good with that. Done with it. Don't want to hear about it again.
I will say the one last final take I have on it. I think it was an interception. They should have reviewed it.
I think
they used the
expedited review.
Yeah, the expedited review, but I think they should have stopped the game and looked at it just for PR.
For PR, fine, but I feel like at least for me, and the casual fan's not going to feel this way. At least for me, like they're reviewing every turnover. He called a timeout. I think they got a check from New York, like, hey, we have this. We're not reviewing this. It's an interception. I feel like for me, that was good enough. If they didn't call a timeout, if they didn't say they reviewed it, it was expedited, whatever it was, then I would have said, okay, what the hell's going on? For the people that think this was rigged, Denver's a great city, I'm sure. Never been there. Sure, it's great. Bo Nix, going to be a nice player. For the love of God, if they were going to rig it, don't you think they would have rigged it for Josh Allen and the Bills to be in the AFC Championship game? I really don't want to hear that anymore. Nothing was rigged in this game. They would have rigged it for Buffalo.
No, people want to watch Allen. People don't want to watch Knicks and the Broncos. It's been proven all year how many people have called out the Broncos for being frauds, for being a boring watch. They don't like watching Knicks. People wanted to see Allen in this game, and that's why there's been so much outrage. But we got to talk about Allen for a second because nobody else wants to do it. So I will. I'll be the guy.
I'm not.
I'll be the guy that steps up and does it. He made a lot of big plays in this game. He did not do enough to win them this game. The turnover before half is egregious. Egregious, the fumble. You give him 3 points. Mike, how much did they lose by?
3 points.
3 points. The turnover after half was bad. And the miss on Knox is unacceptable. You cannot miss Knox at the end of that game because that was a winning play that Brady dialed up for you, and you missed him.
Yeah.
Bad game.
He had the guy on the edge. He was getting close. I think he felt him last second and just overthrew it. Got it out too quick. No doubt, you're the best player in the world. You got to make that play. Kevin, this team stinks. Team stinks.
Bean didn't do a good job with this team.
Bean has not done a good job at all the past couple of years. They're awful. Did you know McCole Hardman played for this freaking team?
I text my friend yesterday. Like, he just appears in January. You don't hear his name all year, and then he just gets a naked boot in January, and that's it.
He got cut on December 27th, I saw a screenshot of yesterday. Now he's back. I mean, what are we? This is who he's throwing to? This is who he's throwing. Listen, you want to fault him for the turnovers. Obviously, I'm going to get on him for that too. What the hell is this guy supposed to do? Has to hit Knox. I understand that. May feel like I'm making excuses for him, but Josh Allen has no choice but to play Superman. Has to play Superman to have any chance of winning a football game, and he tried to do too much on Saturday, and it costed his team the game. So you want to get on him, you want to call him this playoff choker, that's fine, but he almost did enough. And I get almost doesn't cut it, and it sounds like I'm making excuses, and I am. But this is a 4-win team without that man. They're a 4-win team without that guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just think, I think yesterday was the first time I actually left the playoff game saying Allen, in a way, lost in that game. So I don't go and subscribe to the playoff choker narrative. I don't feel that way. But I thought that there were 3 I'm not even going to blame him for the Cooks one, but there were 3 turnovers that he cannot have. And Cooks had a bad fumble that he can't, the year that he's had, he cannot have that happen. But also, like, I'm sitting there in the late 4th. When's the last time Josh Allen's defense hasn't given up 30 points in a playoff game? every playoff game with Buffalo is a 30-point outing for the other team.
Can I say, my friend sent me this stat before. Absolutely stunning stat. I just realized the last time a Bills defensive end recorded a sack in a postseason loss was Jerry Hughes in the 2020 AFC Championship game 6 years ago. 1 sack in that game, Jerry Hughes. In the divisional round,
killed in that game.
The divisional round against the Chiefs, 2 sacks. 2022 against the Bengals, 1 sack, Matt Milano. 2023 divisional round, 0 sacks. AFC Championship game, Chiefs last year, 2 sacks. And then this year, no sacks against the Broncos. So, like, that just proves the point of, like, the defense is doing nothing. They are doing nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing in the postseason when this guy is putting his whole body on the line, for crying out loud.
These are the draft picks that they've made. And I'll say in the Allen contender era. Yeah. So they draft Allen in 18, even 19. They don't really have a great draft. Ed Oliver, round 1. Cody Ford, round 2, not on the team anymore. Devin Singletary, whatever, giant. Regular 3rd-round running back, giant. Dawson Knox, fine, good 3rd-round pick. Then in the next year, I'll just start reading off their top 3 picks from every year. AJ Epinesa, who good defensive end in the 2nd round, but how much is he really contributing to Allen getting better? Not much. Zach Moss wasn't on the team 2 years later. Gabe Davis, just not a game changer at all at wide receiver. That's probably the best playmaker they've drafted or pass catcher they've drafted for Allen. Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham, Spencer Brown the year after that. Spencer Brown's a backup offensive lineman. Boogie Basham is a rotational defensive lineman, and Rousseau's been very good. Then in 2022, Khair Elam stinks. James Cook, great running back. Terrell Bernard, average linebacker. Khalil Shakir in round 5 that year. And he's your wide receiver 1 now. The year after that, 2023, Dalton Kincaid, Osiris Torrance, and then Dorian Williams. They didn't draft another good player in the rest of that. They didn't draft a good player anyways in the top 3 there. Kincaid's good, but they don't even use him. This is the bad one. 2024, you finally say we're going to get Allen a receiver. Keon Coleman at pick 33. Healthy scratch half the year. Cole Bishop. Dwayne Carter. That's your draft in a serious contender window. This past year, we need more receivers. We need more help. So let's take Maxwell Hairston, who hardly plays, TJ Sanders, who is a rotational defensive tackle, and Landon Jackson, who's a rotational defensive end. Their first 5 picks of this past draft were defensive players. They waited till the 6th round to take a pass catcher, and they took Jackson Hawes, their 3rd-string tight end. It's bad GMing. It's bad.
You know, I've always been on McDermott. Like, when I get pissed after these postseason games because Buffalo loses, I'm usually like, oh, it's on McDermott here. I think my eyes are open. I think the issue's Bean. I don't actually think it's McDermott anymore. Like, what's McDermott supposed to, like, what did McDermott do yesterday where you're like, because I've seen the discourse on him, like, time to make a change. You can't lose these games like this. Like, what is he supposed to do yesterday? These players stink.
And also, people are blaming McDermott for the Allen fumble before the half. We shouldn't be running a play. If I have Josh Allen, and I'm not going to blame him for this after, but if I have Josh Allen and I have 24 seconds on the clock and 2 timeouts, I'm trying to get a field goal.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. It's on Allen. That play was fully on Allen. They had 2 timeouts. That was going to be my next question because I wasn't fully watching at this point.
They had at least 1. I know they had a timeout. They might have had. They might have just 1. I think they had just 1 because
it sucks. I feel so bad for him, and I know you don't, and you shouldn't.
I do though because I like Allen. Take the uniform off. I like Allen. It sucks that he has this happen to him objectively, and they've just had they don't have like easy playoff losses to swallow. And I think this year, seeing him cry after the game and Deion Dawkins crying, I think they knew how opportunistic this season was for them.
But like, yes, because Lamar and Burrow and Mahomes aren't here, but at the same time, this is the worst team they've gone to the postseason with injuries.
I agree.
Just roster since he's been a rookie.
But I think you're looking at it still as, you know, we're the veteran team here. We're the experienced team. We have the best player, and we've been here so many times. The 2 of them are just the guys who have been there for a decade almost. And they've been the 2 best players on the team, and they keep coming up short. It's nauseating. The one thing with McDermott is, like, can your defense step up ever?
I know. No, they can't. Yeah, and that's something you can get on him for. But he just doesn't have the players. Oliver's back yesterday, but he wasn't. What was he yesterday?
And he didn't play a lot in the second half. He was obviously still hurt.
Bicep injury, I think it was.
Because late in the fourth quarter, he was not out there. And the Broncos were just running it up the middle.
When he's rolling, when he's on, Alan, he is so easily the best player on every single field he plays on. And it is so impressive and so much fun to watch. And then you have those misses. You have those turnovers. And by the way, like, we could discuss the catch interception if you want. I don't need to because I'm good on that. I hated the pass interference call on the last one. I hated it.
I didn't hate it.
Was underthrown.
I don't even hate the Tre'Davious White one as much as I wouldn't have called either of them. But the Tre'Davious White one is not my biggest pet peeve. The one before it with Sutton is because it was like the same play that Cooks didn't get called on the drive before that. That's where I'd be more upset because there was that Cooks fade in the end zone, far side of the end zone, right side of the end zone, that was the same level of contact, and I loved the no call, but then they come right back and call it on Buffalo, which I did not like. But Tre'Davious White did tackle whoever that receiver was on that underthrow, which is not a good look. It's just, whether we like it or not, it's probably something that's getting called every time.
It is. I wasn't a fan of the first one either. Agreed. But it sucks. It sucks they can't make a play late. It sucks.
I thought Nix played really well.
He did play well. I wasn't like overly impressed, but I thought he played well. I had the bad drop early from my guy Little Jordan there. But he played well.
Gutsy last throw to Marvin Mims with a minute left in regulation.
That was a great throw.
Gutsy throw. Great throw. I don't think there was any question about that being a catch either. Bills fans are saying that was just as ambiguous as the Cooks catch. I don't think so at all.
No, I was good with it. I think he survived the ground. It was close, but I think he survived the ground enough.
I thought he totally did.
I was good with it. It's a
good game.
It's a tough play there because, like, the 1 foot is inbounds. Like, the 1 foot is out of the end zone when he catches it, and then he gets the 1 foot in. So you're not looking at like 2 feet in. Mm-hmm. I looked at it as he crossed the ball. He crossed the plane with the ball of possession, but I didn't know we needed to retain possession out of the end zone there. But I was fine with it. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is BS.
Yeah, I thought it was touchdown.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So I like playing this game. When we look back on, our generation of quarterbacks with Brady and Manning and Roethlisberger and Rivers, right? And now you look and you try and compare them to the guys of today.
Mm-hmm.
The Mays, the Mahomes, the Allens, the Lamars, the Burrows. Where does Nix fall in there for you? Like, what class would he be in comparing him to the old school guys there?
That's a really good question.
Because you have a lot of quarterbacks right now in the AFC. You have a ton. You have, obviously, the guys I mentioned. Is a lot. Because May's in that conversation now.
That's a really good question. Do you have a name?
I mean, out of those 4 guys there, he's closer to the bottom. He'd be like a Rivers for me.
Yeah.
Like closer to that bottom, Rivers or Roethlisberger.
So you're not saying compare him play style wise. You're saying
just like the tier.
I think he'd be in a Rivers, but I think Nix is a better game manager than Rivers was, but not as good of a producer. I think Roethlisberger's way better. I always thought of Roethlisberger higher than everyone else did.
Okay.
But I'd honestly, like, I don't know how many people are rocking with Chad Pennington nowadays, but I feel like he's in that tier of guys who I really wouldn't put in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. But if you put a good team around him, he's accurate, he's a gamer, and he's going to win you games. That mid-tier of quarterbacks. I don't think he's on a Hall of Fame path at all.
But he's with the guy to get him there. If
he
stayed with them for most of his career.
Because Bree's first 3 years are worse than Nix's. So you're looking at it saying maybe Peyton just keeps getting him better and better and better. That's a really good question. Really good question.
How about Peyton? What a chance he has this week. I've read now that he's very tight with Parcells. I knew this, that he coached with Parcells for a while. And obviously Parcells won a Super Bowl when Phil Simms went down. It beat Buffalo that year, I'm pretty sure the Giants did, with Hostetler.
Yeah, with Hostetler.
So I'm sure he'll be getting a phone call this week if he hasn't already. This is going to be a good game.
I think so too.
It's going to be ugly, like you mentioned. This is going to be a good football game. And I hope the Patriots win because I want to see an exciting Super Bowl. I do not want to see Stidham in there. But
I think the Stafford-May Super Bowl has a lot of appeal right now.
Yeah, but I think either way, like, I'm good.
Yeah, either way, I'm good too.
I do think Seattle blows them.
As a huge football fan, if Stidham plays well on Sunday and they win, I'm saying it's house money. This is anybody's game. If they go into a Super Bowl coming off a win with a backup like that, and he actually plays well, and Peyton has hyped him up all year. He's said things about Stidham in practices all season, just kind of keeping his confidence up, I think, in case this situation came up during the regular season, and here it is in the AFC Championship game. But another angle of this for Peyton, you got to be pissed because this is a golden opportunity for you to finally get back to the Super Bowl, and your quarterback breaks his ankle on a field goal drive with minimal contact to end overtime.
He would be the first coach to ever win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams.
Yeah. And you got to do it now because Harbaugh is going to do it next year.
Exactly.
So you have to do it now.
Because that was the discussion with Harbaugh. I'd heard, like, Harbaugh has a chance to do this unless he could be the first to do this unless Peyton does it this year. And it sucks. This sucks. I think Denver. I know you said you didn't say this before. You said the opposite way. I think Denver beats this New England team with Knicks. I really do.
With Knicks, yeah, they might. I would have to see how I felt later in the week.
I think they beat New England.
I like this Denver team a lot, and I think I saved him. Bo Nix's stats when trailing in games this year. Oh man. Did you see the Nick Foles tweet?
Yeah, that was great.
Yep, Foles, let's go. I can't find the Knicks. I think somebody might have commented it on one of our videos, actually. That's what it was. Somebody commented it on one of our videos. Knicks is, I remember it off the top of my head, when trailing this season, 24-2 touchdown to interception ratio.
Wow.
Just a sick year in the clutch this year. They've been great in the fourth quarter. And I think Dobbins is back next week for them, which is a huge boost to a running game that had nothing yesterday.
Nothing. RJ Harvey, I like him, but he was better when there was 2 of them. He's your third down. He's your third down change of pace guy. Let's get Dobbins back. Come on, let's make this game close.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I want to be sitting there 3:00, late in the fourth with something to watch.
I texted you this last night. Money on the line for Jarrett Stidham in the AFC Championship game. Yeah. He's got 1 year left on his contract. How much money does Jarrett Stidham get himself if he wins this game and plays well? And what's the trade value for a $6 million Jarrett Stidham this offseason for Denver? This is a total Osweiler. Same franchise. It's a total Osweiler. 1 year left in the deal. There's already a starter there. You got a chance to play some big games. And if you play well, you might just get to trade an extension right away.
Second or third round pick and like 20 a year for 2 years.
I think so. I think probably like third round pick in the trade. And he's on top of the $6 million, you get like a 2 for 40.
Think so. How about New England? New England, historically with Brady, they don't go in there and win in the postseason.
Well, that's another aspect of this, man.
It's terrible there.
If Denver was to play New England in week 9 at Denver, Stidham's got to come into quarterback it. They're the 2 best teams in the AFC record-wise. Is anybody floored if Denver wins?
No, but you are in this spot.
I just feel like there's already a communal sense from Patriots fans that they're in the Super Bowl again. And that's dangerous. If that creeps into anybody's minds on the team, that is fatal.
And you want that taken away. You want that swiped away.
I saw the vision today, man. And I just saw after we didn't win today, our Texans did not win today. I'm looking at them saying it's a great sacrifice for this week AFC Championship. Jarrett Stidham just torches them. It's such a great sacrifice for that to be the way this ends. I saw it today.
I feel like we're so hyped up because A, we both don't want the Patriots to win, but B, like, we're football fans and we want to see a good game in the AFC Championship. But at the same time, like, we do this with our teams all the time. Like, we're not as good. We're this player down, but we can still do it. Like me with the Eagle game in 2022.
This is 35-6.
This is blowout.
Patriots.
Giants could go to Philly and beat them. Like, they're not that great. They haven't played anybody this year. And it's 38-7 and the game's over in the first quarter. Like, this is that. But I'll ride with it for a couple days.
I will say the only time I've ever talked myself out of a Jets game completely before it started, this is not even a joke. I always find a way that they can win before the game starts. The one time I was like to my dad before the game, I'm like, this could be a blowout, was the Mike White Bengals game. I went to my dad for that game. I was like, we're going to get killed today. He said, this guy's never played. Bengals are the best team in the AFC right now. We're just going to get rolled through. And he throws for 405 and 3 touchdowns. That could be us on Sunday.
That's us.
I'm pumped, man. Stidham, let's go. Chip on your shoulder. Nobody thinks you can win this game, Jarrett Stidham. Nobody thinks you're worth a damn on Sunday against the mighty Patriots. The dynasty Patriots are back, and Jarrett Stidham stands in their way from getting back to the Super Bowl. You think you're going to stop them? Prove everybody wrong, Jarrett. Prove everybody wrong. Go get yourself $40 million on Sunday, too.
Has the New England ties. McDaniel benched Carr for him a few years back when he was with the Raiders. So there's connections. There's connections here.
And he's a mole. He's given Peyton that entire playbook. He's telling, this is the team that drafted him. He's given them every secret about that team. And he's going to go out. And, oh, my God, just imagine Jarrett Stidham on that stage with Jim Nantz on Sunday night. AFC champion hat, T-shirt. Got a little eye black on. It's looking a little rough.
Like, I get what you're saying, but, like, I don't even know if I want this. Like, I know you do, but, like,
I actually don't even. I want May and the Patriots, probably.
I don't know if I want this to happen. I want a good Super Bowl.
If Denver wins on Sunday, I think that they have as good of a chance as the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And with that being said, I don't think, especially if Seattle gets in, I just don't see these teams beating it.
Seattle beats New England by 2 touchdowns. What are they going to beat the Broncos by?
2 touchdowns.
Okay.
2 touchdowns.
I'm pumped. With everything I've said about New England today, I need them to get blown out in the Super Bowl.
You need them. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I haven't closed my eyes and envisioned yet is Drake May on that stage with Roger Goodell in 3 weeks. That's the one place I haven't gone to yet.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Dude, I think I have to worry about that. They're in the Final Four, and they're playing Jarrett Stidham on Sunday.
Not yet. You don't. The NFC's got
worry
you.
About that.
The NFC's got you. We're
Can
good.
they please get me for once?
We got you.
Senny, you want to talk about coaches here or no?
It's up to you.
Stefanski, Falcons, you like it?
Stefanski. Yeah, I mean, he's got to find a quarterback again. So you couldn't do that in Cleveland. So we'll see if he can do it here.
The one thing we do have to actually talk about is this Titans final 3.
Is this the final? Like, no, is this the final 3? Or are they going to announce that McCarthy's getting another interview too? Or are they set in stone? This is the final 3.
It's the final 3. If I was Cam Ward, I'm walking into that front office today when I read that. You got to get rid of me. You got to trade me.
How is this team still a freaking franchise? I mean, for the love of God. I mean, I don't know if I told you this off air, and I'll tell you this now. Albert Breer was talking to Jet people last year, okay? And remember that Vrabel interviewed with the Jets right before Mayo got fired. The Jets had the opening, so they were interviewing guys that weren't part of teams yet. So they interviewed Vrabel, okay? Yeah. And a Jet guy who knew he obviously wasn't going to the Jets calls up Albert Breer and says, why the F did the Titans fire this guy? He's unbelievable. He'd get the job in a second if he wanted it. We're going to hire Matt Nagy? This guy's going to be in the Super Bowl? I saw a tweet from a Titans fan page today. I'm totally living in hell. Vrabel is about to be in the Super Bowl and Matt Nagy's knocking on my door. I mean, this is bad.
Mike Vrabel has now taken 2 franchises to the AFC Championship. Patriots went from back-to-back 4-13 seasons to now 16-3 in year 1 with Vrabel. The Titans have the worst record in the NFL since firing Vrabel.
Like, first of all, whatever. You fired Vrabel. You made the mistake. Fine. to now this list. I just think
like the guys they interviewed too suck. I feel like they interviewed Raheem Morris. I guess you have to. They interviewed Mike McDaniel, Dable, Gannon, Mike McCarthy, Arthur Smith, Jeff Hafley, Jesse Minter. They never even announced that they interviewed Nagy, and he's in the second round of interviews.
Hold on. Taylor Luan, big time podcast with FanDuel, right? Appears on Get Up once a week. Okay, hold on. And I understand the guy coached him, but let me read you this tweet.
And before he said this, him and Will Compton both played for him, and they were livid when Tennessee fired him. They were not optimistic about that at all.
All right. You're going to think lower of him in a minute.
Okay.
Again, this guy is on national media once a week, biggest sports network in the world. Okay. It's insane Arthur Smith is not part of the finalist lists. When he was in Tennessee, he was at Tennessee with the offense, the best it's ever been, understands this ownership and the people, which is pretty terrible, by the way. So you understand terrible people. Great. And has learned a lot since his stint in Atlanta. Aaron Rodgers, most unwatchable offense in the entire sport the last 2 years. Great.
Yeah.
He would be a great head coach for the Titans. Are we serious?
I will say one thing in Luan's defense is I'd rather him on that list than Saleh.
That's fine. For this situation, I guess so, but Arthur Smith still is, I would never hire Arthur Smith again. And the one thing I'll say is there any chance that McCarthy told them no?
It's possible. There's a lot of McCarthy to the Steelers smoke today.
I don't see them doing it, though.
I don't see them going that old.
Exactly. I don't see that happening.
But he's a Pittsburgh guy. If they want to get offensive and hope he leaves a successor in 8 or 9 years, then that's feasible if they wanted to do that.
I feel like Tennessee was a good spot for McCarthy, and this sucks that he's not going to get hired again here.
He might have told him no, though.
He could have told him no.
He might have looked at Ward and said, it's just not for me.
And if Pittsburgh's offering the job, is seriously interested, then maybe he did tell him no, and that's where he's going.
Yeah, because you might even rather, whether Pittsburgh hasn't shown you a great indicator if they'd hire you, if Tennessee's telling you got to start moving on this a little bit and Pittsburgh's going a little slower, you got to wait for Pittsburgh.
Terrible. And by the way, where do the Ravens go? Me and you were quick. I forget which one I think you said it with the Harbaugh tie that Minter was going to be the favorite there. I don't know who the favorite is. They casted a wide net here, Baltimore. They're really trying to.
Because I think that they might be trying to go away from Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Minter's going to be a 20 or younger Harbaugh.
I don't know what they're going to do. I wonder if they go offense or defense, though.
I will just, not to crap on your John Harbaugh parade this week, which you very rightfully should be taking. I think that they look like idiots a year after letting Mike McDonald go. They fired John Harbaugh, and he's in the NFC Championship with the best team in the league by far. And Ravens fans at the time, I'm not going to say all of them, but I know that there was a large contingent that wanted that to happen.
They did. I remember those conversations. This is McDonald's second year?
Yeah, it's second year.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah. Last note on the Seahawks, then we can wrap up the show. I forgot to make it before. Got to give credit. When I've mentioned on the show, when I spoke to Thomas Dimitroff at the Super Bowl, we had a nice long conversation, and I asked him about what makes great GMs and what makes guys like Howie Roseman. And he said the toughest ability for himself, for every GM, is moving on from people who have had success with you and who you have a really good relationship with. You know how tough it must have been for Schneider to dump Pete Carroll, to dump Russell Wilson when he did, and then again to do it with Geno Smith and eat some money this year in that trade and go sign Sam Darnold? He made every correct move along the way. He knew when the writing was on the wall for Russ. He knew when it was on the wall for Pete Carroll, when he had to go in different directions. He knew Geno was playing at his peak with the Seahawks and they couldn't get any higher with him. That's a lot of risks that he took with those three, and it all paid off, and he hit on all those Seahawks picks, on all those Russ picks, and that's after he royally screwed up the Jamal Adams trade, and 2 years later was done with him.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about the Carroll stuff, which I think, from what I had read at the time, there was like a power struggle where Carroll thought he should have more input, and then ownership made the right call on who to go with further, and then they gave the more power to Schneider, rightfully so. He's been unbelievable, but the Russ trade is unbelievable. The the Geno pivot to Darnold is unbelievable. I never thought they were a candidate at all for him when he signed there. I was shocked.
Yeah, no, it's been unbelievable that they did this. I'm trying to find out what they got in that Russell Wilson trade like now,
and
what it all turned into. But
Kubiak's there right now. Obviously, he's doing a great job. You predicted him to the Raiders. Do you stay an extra year? Or do you?
It's not the worst idea. You feel like he's going to get a job at some point, not only because of his performance, but because of his last name. Like they just have such a great lineage.
Probably the top guy next year.
Yeah.
Probably has his choice at where to go. You have Harbaugh, and I mean Tomlin might be in the mix next year, but you've had some big names in this class. Be the biggest guy next year, especially if you win a Super Bowl this year and you're successful again next year.
All right, who did? These are the draft picks that they used on the Russell Wilson trade.
Oh my God.
Charles Cross.
Pretty good.
Devin Witherspoon were the first rounders.
Pretty good.
Boy Mafe starting on the edge for them. And Derek Hall, defensive tackle, starting on this defense. That's 4 starters and 2 complete superstars in Witherspoon and Cross. And they opened up all that salary cap space.
And they made the playoffs, correct? The year after with Geno. They got rid of.
That was the year they lost to San Francisco in the first round. They got killed.
Yep. They pivot to Geno. He makes the playoffs. They get all these players, and now they're running the league for a couple of years here.
Good on Seattle. All right. Went long. AFC title, AFC division round, NFC division round wrapped. Title games next week.
Same time next week?
Same time next week. Title games after we have Broncos, Rams, Super Bowl. Wow. Stidham versus Stafford. The lights don't get brighter. We'll see you next week, same time. Appreciate you tuning in all season long. We got 2 of these left. It's been fun. Baseball season about to start ramping up. Bunch of other stuff about to start ramping up. Stay tuned. Follow us Instagram, TikTok at BTO Media. Subscribe, like here, and we'll catch you next week. Again, same time right here on YouTube.